YouTube Nation, Maven TV, aka me TV, aka guess who got the extended time back? I told you before, alright? You can only hold down the truth book for so long, but after that it's eventually going to come out. YouTube got back to me, was it last night, late at night, and said that they had lifted my video, was my 15-minute video limit, and now I have an extended time limit. So hopefully things will go back to normal. I was supposed to give you guys 2 video game videos this week, but because the limit has been lifted, I can give you one big one now, it seems. Alright, and we got a lot of information to get into. So it goes to show you, this does not mean that I got my partnership back at all. It does not mean that, alright? But it does mean I can give you an adequate video. That's what it means, alright? An adequate show. And I want to thank you guys for being patient about it. I want to thank you guys for sending me information and watching the show as usual. All the followers, everyone, shout outs to you. Hopefully you're feeling good because everything is everything right now. So I will put it like this. Let's get in on EA. You know what? No. That's too easy. That's way too easy. We're not going to start with EA and a bullshit today. We have more pressing matters. That's right. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with that. Then later down the line, I'm going to show you some things that EA is doing that it'll probably be more comical than pissing people off, but you have to understand the way development issues go. I can see why people are mad, especially when they're spending all this money. So let's start off with the cable companies. That's right, because cable companies are eyeing video game distribution. That's right, guys. So let's get into this, all right? For those who don't know what's going on, and I don't know why people haven't made this a bigger deal. Verizon, AT&T, Time Warner Cable, Comcast, and others are planning to launch a digital gaming service that will allow their customers to play titles directly on their televisions without the need for consoles. Okay? It says Bloomberg is reporting today, citing several sources. According to Bloomberg sources, those games would include everything from simple titles like Tetris to the most advanced games from major publishers. Understand that this is going to become a bigger issue, and it's going to be the pond is going to expand now because of the fact that we have to deal with cloud gaming. So all you guys who are saying cloud gaming is great, understand, in theory it may sound great, but now you have to deal with, just like any other theory, you're going to have somebody who's going to come in and they're going to mess it up for everyone. Now all these corporations are going to step in. We're going to see more arguing about things, more patents. We're going to see more people suing each other. It's going to get just out of control. That's what's going to happen. Be careful what you wish for. But I do want to talk about people that are getting out of control, especially one company with Sony. That's right. Sony wants your I won't say PS3. I would say maybe PS4 at this time, what they're planning on doing, to know who you are. Now, for those who don't know what I'm talking about, let's get into this. There will be no more, what they're planning on doing. There's not going to be any more screen names, no more codes, no more passwords, things of that nature. It's a thing of the past, apparently, what Sony wants to do. This is what Sony's planning on doing. It says it's short on specifics as how it will be implemented. It's more of general concept, only mentioning possible biometric sensors like fingerprint sensors, all right, hand sensors, face recognition systems, was it iris scanners, retinal scanners. It says voice pattern analyzers and DNA analyzers. You do not need all of this for your video game system. You don't. Now, I understand there's going to be some people who are going to say, well, laptops now, they have facial recognition, retina scanners and things of that nature. You don't need that for your laptop either. People only use that because they think it's cool. All right? You don't need it. This is a breach in security for you. This is getting way too personal. All right? When it comes for a video game system, way too personal, guys. There's no reason you need this on a video game system. I know people say, well, it's technology, we should always advance, and come on. It's a video game system. You don't need it. All right? This is not helping you and securing your system. This is helping them and securing their network. That's what this is. If you cannot understand that this is in their favor, man, you obviously do not know what's been going on in the past previous couple of months when it comes, or say years, when it comes to hacking and things of that nature. This is a power play. That's what this is on Sony. I'm sorry, but it is. You cannot sit here and tell me that it's not. All right? But anyways, I want to move on because we want to talk about people who don't get things, and that's Bethesda. That's right, we'll talk about Bethesda. Since Bethesda says if gamers don't get their money's worth, they're going to bitch. You're right, they are going to bitch. Why wouldn't they bitch? Any consumer for any product would bitch if they are not satisfied with their product that they paid for. Won't you understand? And it seems like a lot of gamers have become up in arms about this. And I've read a couple comments to you guys. This is what you guys had said. You said, damn straight. And it's the same for anything else. So why is it when it comes to game developers and publishers, they expect an exception to be made? Now I'm going to stop right there because, as we all know, I showed you, it was a couple months ago, I showed you that video with Pachter when he said there's no difference between the video game industry and any other industry. It's all business. Well, if that's the case, why aren't they following the same guidelines? Why do they think that there's going to be exceptions? That I don't understand. All right, it says It's a product. So if people aren't getting their money's worth, yeah, hell's going to break loose. It says on a side note, these devs have some smart-ass mouths. It says, bitch. Ain't no bitch over here. This is what gamers are saying. Also, here's another one. This is Dear Bethesda. I hope you realize that plain bitching is different from legitimate complaints due to faulty and unsatisfying products like your PS3 version of Skyrim. I'm not gonna say that. That's all it needs to really be said. But you need to talk more about developers who don't get it. All right. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, Ninja Gaiden 3 boss comes out and says that they forgot the fans. That's right, they're finally admitting they forgot the fans, and they talk about how they were trying so hard to cater to new fans with this, new style of action that they forgot about the old fans. They talk about this, all right? Now, if you're going to talk about, forgetting things, you need to listen, okay? And I'm talking about the developers. I said this before about games, I'll say it again. You have something good, a feature, whatever it is, that you've put in your game. The next time you make a game, you don't take that feature out, you keep that feature in and you build on top of it to create more content, to create more options. That's what you do. That's what gaming is about when it comes to these type of games. What's wrong with you? All right? But they finally admitted that they didn't do it, they forgot the old fans. And they talk about, and this is what really kills me, because they also talk about how you don't have to worry about, we won't forget the fans again. That's why we're bringing out a new version of Ninja Gaiden. So it sounds like that they just want you to buy the new Ninja Gaiden. That's what it really sounds like. But whatever. And if you really want to listen to fans, take away the online passes, please, because it's not helping anybody. We already know about it. So I will be talking a little bit about it next gaming video, because a nice article came out about it. So I'll talk about that, next gaming video. However, gamers, I do need to talk to you for a minute, because understand that as of late, we have seen a lot of companies trash gamers, trash each other, and I'll talk about that a little bit more later. We've seen people who aren't into gaming trash gamers because when something happens, we get blamed for it. We saw that with the shooting in Colorado not too long ago. I mean, it can be some guy in Alaska right now with a rifle shooting somebody, and if he blames video games, then all of us get blamed for it. We know how this goes. So as gamers, we have to look out for each other. Well, here it is, a gamer who was doing a lot of charity, and an artist, was doing a lot of charities for other people and a lot of art for other people to raise money for others that were sick, now needs help. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a video and let the person who wants to get the word out about this, let him speak about it so you know more of the situation.
I wanted to make this video to hopefully raise awareness and support of any kind for a really wonderful person who also happens to be, just an enormously giving, selfless person who's also, and doing this, has also been a tremendous asset to the gaming community and helping, establish the reputation of the gaming community as a worthwhile social institution that's capable of helping people and making the world a better place. She's an artist. Her name is LLK, and she's done tons and tons of charity work over the years. She's worked a lot with the speed gamers in particular. She's an amazingly talented artist. She has a really awesome cartoony style that I absolutely love. And like that Pokemon fundraiser for Act Today, Autism Care and Treatment, she was, contributed tremendously to that. And she's just really just devoted herself to giving and as much as she possibly can to people who need it the most, and now she really needs all the help and support she can get. She's had a tough time recently. She's had liver duct surgery, she's had gallbladder surgery, she's also had pancreatitis. She's spent a long time in the hospital, has had the liver duct surgery, the gallbladder surgery. That's life-saving stuff. That's stuff where if she either have these surgeries or she just chooses to stay home and die, it's not like something she could have just chosen not to do. And because of these surgeries, she now needs $30,000 to pay off all her medical expenses and hospital expenses and ambulance fees. And she's been trying to raise money, but it's really getting to the point now where if she does not get this money, it's going to get to the point where the bill collectors are going to come and start confiscating her property, like her computer and her clothes and stuff, to make up the debt. And she could possibly end up even homeless over this, just because she wanted to live, because she chose to have the surgery and not die. Meanwhile, she's, you know, she needs $30,000, and she's raised many times over that amount, just, you know, for other people, just you know, through her charity work and her, you know, drawing pictures for people for in exchange for donations to charitable causes and things like that. And really, like, if she's just a wonderful human being. She deserves, if there's anyone who deserves to any support for, it's her. And even like, just even if you just want to think of it as, she's just been such a strong asset to the gaming community and the perception of the gaming community. There's still a lot of negative stereotypes and perceptions out there about people who love video games, that they're, you know, just worthless and lazy and don't contribute anything to society. And if there's any one person who proves that this is not the case, and that she's the antithesis of this, she uses video games as a platform to you know, to give back to society and to funnel, you know, the energy of the public into raising money for the people who need it most. And she does it, you know, these drives, she raises, you know, thousands, tens of thousands of dollars in these drives, just $1 at a time, $2 at a time, $3 at a time, you know, in exchange for, you know, her doing artwork or auctioning off artwork. And if all of us could get together and spread awareness of this and just put in, you know, $1, $2, $3, we could get her the money she needs. And it's not like she's trying to raise $30,000 so she can go to, you know, to go get something or obtain something or go somewhere or anything. The $30,000 is just so she could just have a roof over her head and not have her clothes and her computer confiscated because of all this money she now owes, because she merely chose to have surgery and not just choose to die. So hopefully, you know, making this video helps spread awareness for this. And if you donate for every $30, if you choose to donate $30 to her, she will draw a picture for you. I'm gonna have links to her art galleries, her personal website, a cartoon she did for the Speed Gamers Pokemon Marathon last summer, just to show you she does amazing artwork. You know, and so if you want some artwork, some really well worth the money, regardless of it going to an awesome cause, for just, you know, supporting a person who definitely deserves, you know, charity. But she's, you know, she's actually going to give you something for this in addition. But if you can't, even $1, $5, it's going to go so far to help her, you know, just be able to just get rid of this, so that she doesn't have to live in fear of, you know, having these people take her stuff, you know, because she can't afford these medical bills. So hopefully we could, you know, prove that our culture, no matter what problems it has, you know, socially, politically, it has some sense of justice to it, and that when people give selflessly, that, you know, we do value that, and we do value their time and their lives for contributing to society selflessly. So that's it. And you know, if you could donate any amount, that would be awesome. And if you can't, just helps, just spread the word. So there'll be links to the fundraising site for her medical bills, and links to her art galleries and stuff, so you can see the kind of work she does do that you can get if you do donate, put $30 in for a medical bill. So that's it. Thank you more than usual. Thank you very much for watching.
All the links will be in the info bar for donating, and you can check out this person's Deviant Art page as well if you want to check out all their charity work and artwork as well, just to let you know. Speaking of artists real quick, there's another artist, an up-and-coming artist right now by the name of Piracy, that is entered the Little Big Planet contest. Now understand that the entry that's going on, that he has entered, is not his, I'll put it like this, his official style, alright? Understand that this style is to cater to a certain demographic. So I'm going to put the picture up for you guys to see this real quick. Understand that all artists need to be diverse. If you get stuck in one style, you eventually become outdated and you fade away. That's what usually happens. So it's interesting to see that the style that he takes on, because he has more of a more hardcore style in his artwork as opposed to this. This is actually really subtle. All right. So for those who just think, oh, it's just childish scribbling, it's not. It's a complete different, complete style that he's trying to cater to a certain demographic. It's very smart of him to do, if you ask me. And I put like this. I will put the link in the info bar for you guys because already Media Molecule has put it up on Facebook page for it to like. I believe he needs like 50 likes. So it's not like you got to sign a petition, just 50 likes, hit the like button. That's all you need. So anyways, I want to move on because I need to talk about some serious news here, all right? Cliffy B. That's right. We got to talk about this douche. Cliffy B comes out and says that Uncharted 3 is the most disappointing game this generation. Yeah. That's what he says. Now, it's funny because I thought that one of the most disappointing games this generation was Gears of War 3. I mean, I can't tell you how many friends I talked to who went and bought it. And I'm sure some of you guys have heard the statement, I was just getting into it, and then it ended. Yeah, all right? And like I said, then you rely on online mode and horde mode to pretty much sell the game for the rest of the game. Eventually it's going to fall apart, all right? People were disappointed that the game was so short, and they were very upset that they spent so much money. You want to talk about disappointment? Should we even talk about Bulletstorm? Don't even get me started, man. But that's not all. There's a lot of hypocrisy in what Cliffy B is saying right now, taking shots at Naughty Dog, because Naughty Dog, Cliffy B congratulated them on Uncharted 3. That's right, he congratulated them, all right, in the beginning. Then Cliffy B came out and said that Uncharted series is one of the top 3 games that you should play on the PS3. So, it's funny because I remember back then when they would always say Gears versus Uncharted when they would come out and they were in strict competition, and Cliff would always come out and say he loved Naughty Dog. Now he's bagging on them. It's interesting because, first we saw Tamim bag on him, and then he backed away from it, and now Cliff is, there's something not right here, all right? But it just seems like there's a connection. I'm going to find that connection between them two and Naughty Dog. But I'll put it like this. You can't sit here and do this. This makes you an arrogant loudmouth. And you're a hypocrite. I mean, come on, man. What's wrong with you? You're just going to start... Listen, what has Naughty Dog said about you? Nothing. They have said nothing. And then you're going to bag on them? Come on, this is what I mean. You are way too old for this. Way too old to be acting like this, man. It's ridiculous. I don't know. And the thing is, people are going to still support him. They'll still support him. You know what I mean? It's just ridiculous. Anyways, I want to move on to some good news. All right? It's rumored, but Half-Life 3, that's right, Half-Life 3, to be an open world, but with RPG elements. We will see what happens. I know a lot of people are already saying, it's going to be like Fallout. We don't know. All right? But that's what's rumored so far, just to give you that news. Also, Microsoft has renewed the Killer Instinct trademark. So that means they're getting ready. I mean, a lot of people are saying, they're getting ready to do something. Companies don't trademark things and do nothing with them. No, unless you're trying to stop somebody from making a game. But other than that, I would like to say that this game, they're going to do something with it. They have to. If they're going to trademark it, yeah, they have to. So Killer Instinct, I had said before to you guys a couple months ago, it looks like it's coming back, and then we didn't hear any news about it. Now we're hearing some news again about it. So looks like Killer Instinct, the wheels are in motion. We'll see what happens, because Microsoft came out and said this themselves. So we'll see what happens, all right? Also, I want to move on, because I got to talk about FIFA 13. For those who don't know, Ultimate Team Exploit, that's right, permanent bans are being issued. It goes to show you that no FIFA is safe. They've had so many problems with FIFA, it is ridiculous over the previous 2-3 years. And EA still has not fixed things. And for those who don't know what I'm talking about, remember back in, FIFA 12 when I showed you guys with the video where the 2 soccer players were fighting and all of a sudden they were fighting for the ball and all of a sudden they start getting on the ground and kissing? Well, it seems like in FIFA 13, they've been caught again kissing. Now, since then, EA has tweaked the game so that you don't see any more kissing, but now they've unleashed a bigger problem.
So nearly pissed myself.
And that's not all. Now gamers are starting to see problems in NHL 13. What the hell is going on, EA? These are supposed to be your award-winning games every year. And yet you're going to tell me that you haven't fixed these things? We see the same problems and the same glitches every year in these sports games. Yet you haven't fixed them. Are you using the same old code and just being lazy and not fixing them? I mean, what's going on here? There has to be a problem. And yet, gamers, even though I understand the glitches are funny to see, but when you're paying $60 every year for these games, when these guys do, whoever does, you know what I mean? It's the same thing over and over. It goes to show you that they need longer cycles. They do. They have to clean these type of things up. They just have to. It's funny, don't get me wrong, it's funny, but they have to clean this up. It's just ridiculous, all right? Now I want to move on, because I need to talk about one Michelle Obama, First Lady. That's right. She comes out and says that kids are playing too much video games. Now, look, I have to say that I understand what she's trying to do. She was here in Philadelphia not too long ago, trying to promote, kids getting out more, trying to get rid of the obesity and have them out and play and everything of that nature. But she has to understand you can't blame video games, all right? Especially when you guys, you and your husband, you tried to use games in your first election to get votes. Yet now you want to blame games. But that's not all. No, you're still back to your old shenanigans, because here it is, EA is selling in-game ads for Obama's re-election campaign. So once again, games are bad unless it benefits you in your election, huh? This is a joke, and you should learn something from this. You have to also understand, just because kids are playing video games does not mean they're not active. And I'm going to show you guys what I'm talking about in a minute. But first, I want to talk more about inspiration and show you more positive things that gamers are doing. Because City of Heroes, look, first off, I want to say, City of Heroes community, I really do feel bad for you that your game is shutting down, alright? City of Heroes was a great game. I say was because it's almost over. It was a great game, but what you guys did on City of Heroes, yeah, all right, you get an applaud from me. For those who don't understand, on Saturday night, a number of people were to wave their proverbial flag, or actually torching the game. It says to stand together in solidarity, right? Not to demand anything, but to prove that nothing can break the spirit of a game that has given so much for so long, all right? So that's not all. It says perhaps the most touching aspect of all this is the fans who have literally given back game makers at Paragon Studios. Fans recently raised about $1,000 in 3 hours to treat the City of Heroes team to a free meal at their favorite restaurant, just to say thank you. That's an amazing thing to see, but that's not all. And this is the key thing that you need to hear. It says, one can only hope members of the outside world, it says, is paying some attention to the actions of the gaming community, who are teaching everyone a valuable lesson. And I want you to hear this, all right? And this goes for all you trolls, all you people who think all these bickering, all this fighting, and I'll talk about that later too. I want you to hear this. It says, you don't fight when you think you can win or because you think you are stronger. It says you fight because when someone takes something away from you, one of the greatest things that you love, it says it's the only thing you know how to do. It's amazing to see that. But that's not all. Now, we're going to go back real quick, and we need to talk about one Miss Michelle Obama again, because if you think that gamers are not being active and it's not, as a politician would say, it's not sparking intelligence or getting, the brain cells moving, I have a little update for you guys. Remember Kane's Arcade? Remember the kid who built this arcade out of cardboard? Well, now we have an update on what's going on since that arcade has been built. And now we're going to see just how much inspiration and what gamers can actually do.
This all started with going to buy a door handle. It was last summer, and I went down to this random used auto parts store, and I met this 9-year-old boy named Kane.
I'm Kane.
Who had taken over his dad's store with this elaborate cardboard arcade. I was his first customer.
He saw something in my son that nobody else saw, and he made a film about it.
I posted the film online 4 months ago. Little did I realize that both of our lives were about to change.
Finally tonight, we have a great story out of Los Angeles, East LA to be precise.
When you're a lonely 9-year-old boy, an empty cardboard box can be a universe of possibility.
I found this great story. I want to share it with you.
They're lining up to play at his cardboard arcade.
This kid made his own arcade.
A filmmaker discovered Kane's Arcade, and now it's a movie.
When I first posted the film, I had a goal of trying to raise $25,000 for Kane's scholarship fund.
I figured, well, he's dreaming.
That night, my phone just started ringing off the hook. Donations were coming in.
Here's a live look at Kane's Arcade where you can see there's a long line of people.
The next day, it was over 100,000. I was like, what is going on?
A 9-year-old boy now has a huge college fund.
He's the talk of the town. Is he a future billionaire?
What's next for this precocious 9-year-old?
The video came out on Monday.
Nearly 2 million people have watched it.
By Saturday, we have 4-hour lines waiting to play Kane's Arcade.
When a little boy's dream came to life.
We finally got some customers here.
I told my dad that was the best day of my life.
Celebrities were tweeting. Kane's Arcade was trending on Twitter worldwide. it hit the front page of Reddit, and people started coming from around the world to visit Kane's Arcade.
UK, London, Spain, everywhere.
They've been flying in, taking taxis from the airport directly to Kane's Arcade.
Jack Black even came by with his kids to play. But for me, the most inspiring thing was the wave of cardboard creativity inspired in kids around the world.
Hi Kane, this is me, Jojo Roman from Facebook. I fanned you, and this is my bubblegum machine.
My game is called Basketball Group, and if you get all 4 balls in, you get a pencil.
Cool prize, Abby. It's called Tilt-A-Ball. It's made with popsicle sticks. Thanks, Isaac, for the game.
You're welcome.
Oh, my name's Ezra, and I made this pinball machine. And I got the idea by watching a little video off my dad's computer. I also made a coin slot.
I get 10 tries.
I made a same game as like this, but everything different. Come on, Bo.
Who wants to go in the car wash too?
Nice.
Awesome.
And I love your arcade. Man, I don't know what to say. You're just famous.
Kane has grown a lot. I mean, first of all, he's literally grown a lot. He's probably outgrown 2 staff shirts, and we had to make him a boss shirt.
I'm the boss. That's a lot of work.
Kane has really come out of his shell. He talks to everybody freely now, and he doesn't stutter anymore, and he's doing way better in school.
One of the things I've learned from this experience is how a small gesture can change the life of a child. And to think that there's so many other kids like Kane out there who just need somebody to come in and buy a fun pass. So we started the Imagination Foundation. So the Imagination Foundation's mission is to find, foster, and fund creativity and entrepreneurship in kids like Kane.
I see a lot of promise in the Imagination Foundation as a way of advocacy for kids' interests.
One of the greatest challenges I think we face in education is tapping into children's natural powers of creativity. And one of the appeals of Kane's Arcade is it's demonstrating how deep those powers are and how readily people will rise to the challenge if you give it to them.
It's not enough anymore just to learn the basic kinds of language arts and math skills. Our children need to be innovators and inventors.
And I think if we can make that systemic in our education systems, we'll transform the world for our children and for ourselves.
After we started the foundation, the first thing we did is we hit the ground running with the school pilot program. Within the first 2 months, over 100 schools in 9 countries participated using project-based learning to teach kids math, science, and engineering.
I told Kane that when I was a kid, I also built cardboard rockets. These were space capsules that we could actually fly in our backyard. And here I am, many years later, and I'm still building a spacecraft, but this one, a real one that landed on Mars.
So the idea is not only to give kids the tools to build the things that they can imagine, but to also imagine the world that they can build. Are these the flames shooting out of the back of the ship?
Yeah, I think we're gonna put a big fan.
Childhood imagination will take you from cardboard to this in just a few years.
Ready for liftoff?
Pretty cool.
So Kane, here's the idea. On October 6th, the 1-year anniversary of that flash mob we did for you, to make your day this year, we do a global cardboard challenge, inviting the whole world to play. This October 6th, the 1-year anniversary of the flash mob we did to make Kane's day, the Imagination Foundation is launching a global cardboard challenge. Here's how to play. Go to cardboardchallenge.com and sign up to host an event or find an event near you. If you want, you can set a fundraising goal to support the Imagination Foundation. then invite everyone you know to come out and play.
It doesn't matter how old you are. All you need is cardboard and your imagination.
You can build an arcade, a robot, a rocket ship, anything you can imagine. There's events already being planned in kitchens in Idaho, school districts across Texas. There's a cardboard amazement park being planned in Kampala. The idea is just to bring the whole world together to play and celebrate creativity and imagination. For me, this all started with a door handle, and I ended up buying a fun pass. And for Kane, it started with this small basketball hoop that he won as a prize and built this whole arcade around. This October 6th, we're inviting the world to come together for a global day of play and just imagine what we can build.
And right there, it goes to show you that inspiration, to be able to affect others, to be able to spread, to have so much influence that they would want to do it themselves. That's what it's about when a gaming community have each other's back. You know, it's these kids, these are 9-year-old kids and younger, and they can understand it. It's not about, oh, he made an arcade, I can do it too and try to one-up him. It's not about that. It's just about being a part of it. That's what it's about. It's about getting out there and being creative and doing something. That's what it's about. It's not about fighting and carrying on and calling people a bunch of names and grieving and trolling and all this. If 9-year-old kids and younger can understand this concept, why can't grown-ass men or even teenagers on the internet understand this? I don't get it. If you, come on, man, you gotta be kidding me. And yet people say, I don't care, I don't care. Then what are you doing? Then what are you doing here then? Why are you here? All right? Because this is not about being such a selfish individual. This is about critical thinking. That's what this is about. This is what these videos are for. All right? Don't you understand that? But it also seems that people still don't get it, and why these type of stories are not shown to the mass media, which is interesting because now that Kane's Arcade is blown up, that got attention, but all the people that came after him, all the kids that came from behind him who were doing this didn't get that attention. And that's the sad part. And yet every day we have to hear that kids are being lazy, kids aren't doing anything, when there's a bunch of kids right here showing you that they're doing something, and that there are people who are helping them, parents, adults, celebrities, whoever. They're all in it together. That's what it means. It doesn't mean fighting, dividing for some type of profit. But it seems like no one cares these days. It's sad to see. It's great to see something like this happen, but it's sad to see it go so badly ignored and to keep listening to the stigma where we all need to argue with each other online all day and fight and do all this stuff. It's stupid. People want to, like I said before, you want to be treated as an adult, then you have to start acting like one. It's that simple. Then I want to talk about adults a little bit more, all right? And talk about this stigma of negativity, because I want to talk about one Seth Killian. And I know there's some Seth Killian fans here, but guess what? If you don't like what I'm getting ready to say, if you're a big fanboy of him, please leave this video, because the article that came out about him shows exactly why you should not respect him that much, because of what he brings to the table. I know a lot of guys will say, oh, well, he's developed this and that. No, if you listen to where he has come from and what he did, what he was playing fighting games for, he was playing them for all the wrong reasons. And that's the problem with the fighting game community today, and we're going to talk about this right now, all right? So let's start off with this this article. They talk about how he rose from the ranks and he became this so-called god, all right? But it says, truth be told, based on his description of those years on climbing up the ranks, and in sharp relief of his friendly persona now, he was also something of an asshole. That's what it says. So let's get in this. It says, the joys of angering your opponent. It says, I've always been kind of a griever. It says, I enjoy sticking it to someone else. Once in a while, hopefully not in a too vicious way. The idea that I, as a punk, coming off the street and could beat a dude who was 19 or out of high school was unimaginable to me. Why? I mean, you trying to say you couldn't do it in real life, so you had to do it in a video game, right? That's what you're saying. But let's keep going. It says, and he told me, it says, and I could tell the guy wanted to throttle me, but he was just barely, he was just barely not allowed to do that. Notice he said barely. Depends on where you played, you were going to get it. All right, but let's keep going. It says, that's thrilling. It says, and there was money on the line. Kind of. It's not really gambling, but you both put in money, and one person leaves and the other person keeps playing, he said. Money's not on the line. You're just putting in money to play the game. Unless you're going to put up that extra quarter, and start gambling. No, it's not. Money's not on the line. You're playing not for money. You're playing for experience. You're playing for fun. No one's playing for money. See, this is what happened to the fighting game community. All right, but let's keep going. It says Killian didn't have much growing up, so he would camp by machines. The word camp, by machines, waiting for other people to play so he could watch and pick up tricks and strategies. So he would sit on the sidelines. All right, I'm sorry, but you can't tell me he didn't have much. Back then, it only cost a quarter to 50 cents to play a game. All right, he didn't have much. And you gonna tell me you're just gonna sit by and cherry pick off of other people and analyze them instead of getting into the game yourself and playing and learning like everyone else did? There were no tutorials. There were no sitting back and asking, and there was none of that. You got in and you learned. If you got your ass kicked, guess what? You learned from it. That's how you did. You just kept playing. That's what it came down to. If you didn't have the money, guess what? You didn't have the money. You couldn't go home to a console and play it at first. No, because it wasn't there. It was just in the arcades. All right, but let's keep going. It says, Street Fighter was immediately compelling to me. It says, I knew if I was good, I could keep that quarter going without having to pay again for a very long time. It says he explained, he loved gaming in general, but he quickly saw something special in Street Fighter 2 game and the community that was growing around it. So I guess you didn't play the original Street Fighter. I guess you didn't play the old school Street Fighter where you didn't have, you didn't even have buttons, huh? You had to bang on the stuff. I guess you didn't play that. All right, but Street Fighter 2 was where he started. That goes to tell me something. It says, there's a sense of depth that was apparent to me about the game right away. It was like walking on a beach and finding a crafted item versus the rest of the stuff in the sand, he said. This is the thing. It just stood out versus the other games in terms of craft and care and thought. He imagined the game would be a mystery box, and when he felt that it was with enough practice, he could open it and understand what was inside. That's fine. That's completely understandable. It says the play was random, nor was it stacked against the player. It says it could figure out or beat it and turn beat other people. Okay? It says his secret was to stand back and watch players in their respective styles. You already know how I feel about that. It says who in the arcade liked to pick which character. Why did they jump? Why did they stay on the ground? He began to find ways to use people's habits against them. This trick allowed him to stand out in the local arcades he was playing and other person as much as he was playing the game. Okay? It says, I had immediate success with that, and you could tell because people became agitated, Killian said. That really hooked me. See, right there, you're playing for the wrong reasons. If you're playing just to piss people off, you don't need to play. It's that simple. Obviously, you played in the wrong places, because if you pissed somebody off, they was going to go up in your mouth. All right, it was that simple. If that's what you get a thrill out of, you were playing it for the wrong reason. But it says, because it wasn't just beating an older guy, it was making him mad. No. See, this is the problem. It says, it was the first time Killian had seen a game because of an immediate emotion reaction in other players. It says, then something interesting happened. Players began to share information online. Yes, I remember this time when players were sharing information online due to the fact that even before then, when you played, say, like Mortal Kombat and you didn't know a fatality, somebody was going to let you know how it was done when you were in school. So what you did was you opened up your notebook and you wrote down the fatality or the moves, and then you went to the arcade afterwards and you tried them out. This is before there was, online and facts and things of that nature. Then I believe when GameFAQs came around, before anybody, was really on GameFAQs, we started seeing more things come down the line, and people would bring in printed out sheets of stuff from Mortal Kombat and stuff like that. So yes, it has happened, okay? But it says, it was like the birth of the internet. No, it wasn't, but okay. There was a lot of things going on, and you send it. It said, he recalled. It says, the conversation about Street Fighter overwhelmed the general video games discussion. I don't remember that, but okay. It says, so they were kicked out and began their own group, which is what they're trying to say form the fighting game community. I remember arguing about whether it was such a thing as a combo. Yes, there was. Even in games where you didn't have set combos, there were combos, all right? People always acknowledge that. So I don't know why people would even think back then there wasn't. It says people were talking about getting hit with a jump kick and then a sweep, and they couldn't block it. I remember those days when people would say that. Do everyone remember the days where you would rush a guy into the corner, and then you would go up, you standing up, low kick, low kick, low kick, you hit the low kick, and then they would stay blocking, and because of that time delay, you could walk up and grip them and slam them, and you could do it over and over again. It was spamming back then, yes it was, but it was effective. Now I'm giving out secrets. You see what I'm saying? But let's keep going. It says, and they were told they had to block down and back, and people said that it didn't work. It was super basic stuff, but people didn't know. There was no easy way to share videos or proof of your exploits, like like online, like you can do now. It says, if you read about a strategy or glitch, you can only confirm it by going to your local arcade and attempting it yourself, which I already talked about before. It says, after a while, arguing online turned into trips in other arcades to challenge local players in order to see strategies of other players outside his area. And that's true, because I can't tell you how many times we would get groups together, go to New York and play. It wasn't because of money. No, we went because it was challenge. That's what it was. We went right down to Chinatown, New York, and we played. And we went right down to Baltimore, and we played. And we went everywhere, and we played. That's what it was about. It wasn't about money or ego or bragging rights. No, because when you're playing these guys, you're learning from them as well as you're playing. And you made friends. That's what it was about. It wasn't about all this, oh, I'm the man and all this other crap, and we got stage drama. No, not about it at all. All right? It says, Killian traveled to distant arcades during the summer and spring break of his college years. Part of these trips was to keep the online reputation to a high-level play. Why? Online wasn't a factor. You didn't even have online play. Online reputation, that's what you were worried about. So once again, you're worried about yourself instead of the actual community. That makes me mad. It really does. But it says, part of it, he admitted with a laugh, was to make money betting on games. Anyways, it says the sort of gambling turned into an actual gambling, which I told you before. You put in your extra quarters or whatever. So he eventually fell into that line. It says, I just love the action. When gamblers talk like that, I know exactly what they're talking about. I wanted to win, but the fact that this was happening all was a thing of it. Gamblers just want to have their money in-game even if they lose it. That's a shame. That's really a shame. It says, I grew up in my own smoky arcade hangout in the neighborhood where it was known that you could also buy cheap pot, that's means pot, I don't know why he's on pot, weed, around back. Among other things, asked Killian if he ever feared for his safety. He didn't hesitate. This is what he said. Oh yeah, it was not uncommon. I witnessed fights. So you weren't in any fights, okay? It says, there was a knife incident at the one arcade that I play at, although I wasn't there. So somebody got stabbed, but you weren't there. Okay, I remember back in the day, people were always getting into fights. There was always violence. I remember one time during the tournament, someone had sprayed, pepper spray and mace into the air during the tournament, and we had to evacuate all of us to come out of the arcade. Like, come on, man. Like, this dude, it's always, well, something happened. Well, something happened there, or there was going to be a fight, but I wasn't there. Come on, you weren't in the thick of it. You didn't have to react. That was the thing, and you sat on the sidelines and you pretty much grieved people without any consequence, and that's what we're seeing today. But it says a lot of players have these kind of stories, because there's no question that for as much as I spent time telling my mother that arcades just had a bad reputation, it wasn't the case. Yeah, it wasn't all time, but it says they were really shady places. It says he had to ride his bike and find a ride into Chicago to play, since video games were illegal in his town. Really? What the hell? Anyways, let's keep going. Alright, it says, there was money to be made in arcades, sure, but there was also a real threat of being punched in the face for your efforts, like I said before. It says, the world was a very different place before people could troll with community online. Yes, but you were a troll, alright? You just took your act on the road. That's what you did. You tried to grieve people. It said, and in fear of getting beat up, but you never did, and that was the problem. No one never punched you in the face, so you didn't stop it, and you kept it going. So let's keep going. It says, during one match with money on the line, the locals became agitated and their friends started to show up and muscled around the machine. Okay? Killian remembers being disturbed by the energy around the place. I remember telling my friend Benny, you have to go to the car. It said, go start the car. Killian grabbed the money and made good his escape. So you grabbed the money and ran? Are you serious? Come on, man. It says he was threatened on multiple occasions and had friends who ended up on the bad end of physical confrontations. So your friends got their ass kicked, but not you. Once again, you're not in the thick of it. Anyways, It says evolution came slow and you had to piss people off first. No, your idea of things, what am I on 12? Your idea of things is to piss people off first. It's ridiculous. All right? Oh, if you shake their confidence mentally, you can beat them in the game. No, how about you just beat them straight up? Because that's what you can do. It's ridiculous. Come on, man. As Kim pointed out, difficult to describe how things were in terms of information flow. You couldn't just talk to Capcom about things you discovered in the game. No, not then, because there was no connection. It says, and people in different arcades found different styles and methods to play. The idea of owning an arcade board yourself was crazy. No, it wasn't. People went around and bought stuff and put it together and fixed it themselves, and they did it themselves. It wasn't crazy. All right? But it says, ideas and concepts of place spread slowly and had to be tested on a local level. This is the same thing over and over, it seems like. Anyways, there were things like the rumors of Chun-Li's handcuffs and Gal's magic throw and stuff. Yeah, I get it, all right? Anyways, it doesn't matter. Then there's a video for that as well if you want to see that. It says, also, common arcades enforced an arcane set of rules about when it was okay to throw. I've told you this before about this, about how people say no grabs, and then the gamers today say, oh, well, if it's in the game, you should be able to do it. Killian says himself that there were rules like that, all right? So it goes to show you, I'm just not making this shit up. All right. It says, you know, it became cheap. It says, but in some arcades, if you threw another player, they expected to be able to throw you back for free, which is true. That's how it works. You throw somebody, you get thrown back. It's a consequence. All right. It's called discipline, and you learn what you're doing. Technically, that's what it is. It says, I remember going to the University of Illinois and meeting this guy named Ming. He would throw people with glee, having fun with his cheap tactics. I was wondering why no one was kicking his ass, and then not in the game either. This is Killian said. Ming took joy in capitalizing on every advantage, and no one knew how to counter his, and it has a thing here, his trick throws. There's a link here. It says, you didn't just practice it, it was a dark art. It says, this was the problem with Street Fighter arcade machine when it was being dominated by someone who seemingly couldn't be beaten. And Killian joked and said that his introduction to the liberalism of college versus the griminess of arcades, in neighborhood arcade, Ming might have gotten beaten up. That's right, because local people don't play that shit. All right, that's simple. And it says, and that would have been the end. In college, he was pretty much safe to hold down whatever tactics he chose. That's what it came down to. And he even goes on to say that he studied from this guy, and instead of learning to stick with you know, with his own style, but still learning that style, you know, do it when it's need be, you know, he just decided to transfer over and just be as cheap as possible, learning from this guy. And he would just play with him constantly. It is ridiculous that you would sacrifice any type of thing like that when you have to rage quit that bad. This is more of the article, but I'm time constrained. I am not going to sit here and read this whole article, even though I've pretty much read a lot of it. But you have to be kidding me that someone would go this far. And we're supposed to respect Seth Killian, right? That's what we're supposed to do. But you have to understand this type of mentality has gone on for a while, especially with these new fighting, you know, these fighting game community guys. They just feel as though they can just do whatever, and they let their emotions, you know, get the best of them because they think it's so competitive when this is supposed to be about fun. That's what it's supposed to be about. So what if you get beat? Good game. But then you have to troll, and you have to send people messages and call them a bunch of names, and then you have to rage quit.
Hello and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Black Prion, and I figured today it'd be a good time to come at you with the original BlazBlue Continuum Shift. Now, this is an online match right now, and I don't want to be exposed because I'm rusty, but I am playing Iron Tiger, and this guy's playing Jin, and he's not really as aggressive as most Jins are. I don't know what he's doing right now. Okay. He's just going to spam projectiles. So I'm just going to push you to the corner. 360. What? What the hell was that? Like, what? He put the match. Oh no! You come here to me. No, no excuse. That is fraudulent. Gadget finger. Bastardization of gameplay. Gadget finger. And you are a disgrace to everything we... Wow. Put the room at minimal time, and then you... exposed!
It seriously is time to grow up. It is pathetic that something like that would happen. I don't understand what's going on, but fighting game community has to get it cleaned up. This is why I said that it goes to show you some of the top guys that you respect, they went down that road too. And what I mean by it is that's how it's I'm not saying Seth Killian started, but that mentality is what plagues the fighting game community. That's exactly what I mean. Now, I want to talk about this a little more because you guys said we should ignore the fact that we shouldn't ignore the fact that there are many positive players in the fighting game community, especially in a game that takes much skill like Tekken. It says, I constantly play Tekken competitively online and I lose as much as I win. It says, but after every match, I message my opponent and tell him, well fought, good game, nice costume, or you should try blocking a bit more. It says, and most replies positively and others end up in my friends list. It says, I know there are assholes out there, but there are good guys too. And you're absolutely right. Like I said, when I show you guys the King of Fighters 13 videos on microphones, all we're doing is talking and joking and laughing. You can ask Curious Doom, you can ask Zenzo, talking, joking, laughing. I mean, just, maybe you can try this move. This move links into this combo or whatever. We're just having fun. And at the end, whoever wins, good game. It doesn't matter. You can ask those guys. There's no arrogance, there's no arguments, there's nothing about it, all right? But that's not all. We're going to talk about more, the good parts of the community, because as of late, Event Hubs has come out and asked, what would you do to improve the fighting game community when it comes to, the players? And the community has responded very strongly. Now, they've given a number of, reasons suggestions, I should say, on how to fix the fighting game community. And there's a couple things that I didn't agree with, but hey, that's their opinion. That's how it goes. You get what I'm saying? But it goes to show you that the fighting game community is trying to clean it up. It just takes more people to get involved, and that's what it comes down to. Also, I want to talk about this. One of you guys had sent me a message about tournaments when it comes to button mapping and configuration. Apparently, there's a tournament out there that they won't let you change your buttons on your fighting stick, which I feel is completely wrong. I'll put it like this. This is why we had arcades to begin with, so you didn't have to worry about all this stuff. You had default buttons and default layouts, but now that you've succumbed to the fighting stick method, people should be able to configure their buttons any way you want. That's why they have button configuration. That's why. And I'll tell you like this, because when I play King of Fighters 13, because you can't set up the way I want to, I can't do A, B, C, and D like a cross, like the old American style. I can't do that. Now I have to put the button at the bottom or whatever. Now look, I'll put it like this. If there's in a tournament and a guy wants to change his button, all he's got to do is ask his opponent. As long as there's an official there to, confirm it, sit here and say, can I change my button? How do you feel about it? And if the guy agrees, then he knows what he's getting himself into. It's that simple. All right? There shouldn't be no, oh, you can't change anything. Because I put it like this. If you ask me to play Mortal Kombat today competitively and you want me to use a fighting stick, I tell you hell no. All right? Because I'm so used to it. And this is me being old school. I'm so used to the way the old setup from Mortal Kombat was. The two things with the block in the middle and things like that. That's what I'm used to. That's what I'm accustomed to. All right? I have not, now I'll agree. I will admit it. All right? I have not adjusted to new Mortal Kombats when it comes to the button layout. I have not. All right? So I'm just letting you know. But it goes to show you that when you start getting in this type of thing, start getting rid of arcade machines and bringing in fighting sticks, it becomes a problem. Then you start adding more rules, and then you start having more, more restraints, and then you start talking about pot splitting and things like that. It's a completely different world. You start making up new rules for, when it wasn't this big of a deal back then. But now it is, apparently, because money is on the line instead of just playing and having fun. Or just getting awards if you win. No, I can't be that anymore. No, I can't. Anyways, I'm going to keep going because this guy says, I think you might want to look at the community as a whole, not just fighting games. Any online competitive game has trolls. League of Legends, DOTA, COD, all of them. The community has too many players with no respect for each other. It should be an unpleasant surprise dealing with trolls, not a pleasant surprise playing against a courteous opponent. I couldn't agree more. Online gaming, the fact is anonymity, that's what it is. It's sad to see. This is not what gaming was about when I was growing up, and as you guys have said last week, it's not what it was about when you were growing up. I just don't understand the difference in this generation and the last generation or whatever. We've never seen this. I've never seen so many people ask to be bailed out of things when it comes to the fighting game community. Tutorials and things. We didn't have tutorials back then. We just went out there and we played. You get what I'm saying? It's like, and then if you say something to them or you think they're a bad player, they're quick to curse you out. If you beat them, they get mad. I mean, you gotta be kidding me. That's not what this should be about. And because the fighting game community, I won't say it's at its highest point, but it's pretty exposed, it's getting some pretty good exposure right now. You have to understand, like I said before, you have a responsibility. You have, when you're a part of the fighting game community, it's not just about you. You do have this stigma that, people on the outside will think, oh, you're a bad person because you play this. You can't tell me how. Go on a forum and ask people who don't play fighting games what they feel about the fighting game community. How many people say, I quit playing because people are idiots or this, that, and that. You're going to hear it, all right? You do have a responsibility to act accordingly. Anyways, guys, I'm done for today. I believe this went over a little bit longer than I expected, but it doesn't matter. I will talk to you then. Y'all be safe. Until next gaming video, I'm out.